Hi, my name is Katie Kataska, and I am the chair of the Professional Development Committee of the New Jersey State Library Association. In the Library Career Path series, we'll be interviewing librarians from a wide variety of positions within the field, from public positions to music outreach and even business librarians. So newcomers and seasoned librarians alike can learn more about the many career options available in the field that they may not have been aware of. We hope you enjoy these interviews, and please like and subscribe to our channel below to help promote the Library Career Path series. Thanks so much for watching this series. We hope you enjoy it. Take care. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So can you please give us your name, title, and current place of employment?
All right, so my name is Kiana Kirby. My current title is Head of Technology and Technical Services, and I'm currently employed at Westfield Memorial Library.
And so what inspired you to be a librarian? Did you choose this profession or did it find you?
I love when I get this question because
I know it's such a loaded question.
I get to shout out another Jersey librarian. I remember my last year undergrad, I was working at King's Supermarket in Short Hills, and I thought I was going to be a teacher. Went and did those praxis exams, went and did the student teacher. Didn't like it. Did not like it. At that point, it was just like, Kiana, what the heck are you going to do? You're about to graduate in a few weeks. And the head of youth services at Maplewood Library, shout out to Jane. She used to come in my line all the time. She used to see me reading. Oh, what are you reading today? What are you reading today? And when we would just talk books and stuff. And she asked me, what are you going to do when you graduate? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. At this point, I thought I was going to teach. And she was like, you should become a librarian. I remember laughing at her. I'm like, girl, no, I'm not doing that. Then I looked into it. I'm like, all right, it can't hurt at this point. And I got into Rutgers, the graduate program for it. And I remember taking my first class and I'm like, this is it. This is where I was supposed to be. I wasn't supposed to be a teacher. So it definitely fell in my lap. I did not know this is what I was going to be doing. I thought I was going to be teaching history, but this is where I am now. So, and I don't regret it. That's why I said, I love you, Jane. Thank you. I love how we crossed paths, because without her, I probably still wouldn't have found this. So yeah.
Do you still see Jane anymore or not really?
Ironically, I do, because I live in Maplewood now. So it's just like, look how everything's just coming full circle. But yeah, it was because of her. I took a chance. I laughed, but I took a chance, and I love it. I love what I do now.
It's always funny that some people know before you, because even my dad at my graduation, he was like, you should have been a librarian. Like, I'm getting my degree, literally my diploma for another degree.
I didn't know. Like I said, I thought I was going to be a teacher. I was ready. And I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
in some capacity as librarians, we are teaching, we are educating. So
Yeah,
I still teach, but in a capacity that works for me. So
right.
yeah.
It's just a different way.
Right.
Mhm. So ironically, that goes into the third question. So was there something specific that pointed you in the direction of becoming a technology librarian?
Oh, okay. I like this too. This is not my first rodeo. I have practically been in every single department in a library you can think of. So I want to say this was probably just next step for me. I started off as a library assistant at Belleville Public Library. I went straight into it. Once I got into graduate school, I was like, listen, you need to get into a library right now and do your coursework at the same time working in the library. The universe just loves me, I guess. And it looked up, I got the job, and I was able to start classes and start working at the library. I worked my way up. A couple of months later, I was designated library associate. I'm like, okay, yes. But I was in youth services. And then I got bounced around each department in the library. That's why I'm always appreciative of having my start there as well. I was able to do some reference work. I was able to go into the teen department. I got my start in the children's department, but half of the time I was also cataloging too. So it was like at this one spot, I was learning everything that you needed to know under the librarian umbrella. So yeah, I didn't know I was going to end up as a technology librarian. I get curious. Youth services, I'm like, okay, what else can you do? Then I started working with the teens. All right, what else can you do? Then I bounced to adult services, and I really, really loved working with the adults. And you probably don't hear that too much. Coming from librarians, you probably see us like gushing and loving youth services, but I like working with us. I like working with other adults. Those are my dogs, by the way, you guys are hearing. That's Prince and Reese Cup. But Yeah, I didn't know I was gonna land here. I think it made sense for me to land here because again, I got curious. I wanted to keep going. I'll go on record to say this is it. I think I found where I needed
Mhm.
to be. This is it for me. I like being a technology librarian. So
Nice. And yeah, and you're thinking about adults, like I'm in like, the adult section of the my library and I love it. I love helping adults. Like it's so rewarding.
it really is. It really
Yeah.
is.
So you always find your niche.
Honestly, and that's why I'm kind of happy to sit down and do this interview as well. Because I'm hoping the like new graduates and newly librarians will see this, and it's like you may get into a position and you might think it fits, and sometimes it does. Sometimes it won't fit anymore, and that's okay.
Mhm.
Take it off and put something else on. And I would like to say I'm a great example of that. If I like it, I put it on. If I don't like it anymore, I'm taking it off and I'm trying something else on. And that's just part of the library game. That's part of any profession you're in. Now that I think about it, but no, you don't have to box yourself in. Like I said, I was a youth services major. That's where I got most of my coursework done in. I didn't stay there. I didn't stay in that lane. It stopped fitting. I didn't like how it fit anymore, and I got curious and I wanted to see how else that library operates. And like I said, I bounced around, and I like how technology librarian fits on me. So yeah.
Yeah, nice. Hey, I know so many people who've bounced around, like even like Karina, who's head of NJLA, she's done everything. So yeah, but for you job for this job, can you describe what the interview process was like,
Okay. It
if
wasn't
you
that long.
remember?
No, it wasn't that long ago now that I think about it. It feels like I've been there for years, but if we're being honest, I just this month actually made a year for me. So yeah,
Oh
there's
wow.
there's to that. The interview process, I ended up sending in my resume, references, and cover letter, all that jazz. I got set up with my first interview. So I sat down with our director, I sat down with head of adult services, and then I sat down with one of the full-timers that works in the tech services department, which I thought was great because I'm like, I would prefer to actually sit with someone I'm going to be working with day in and day out. So that interview lasted, I want to say maybe an hour and a half. But I
Hmm.
think honestly it was because it felt like we knew each other
Yeah.
already. So it didn't feel like an interview. It was more or less me asking them questions. Cause like I said, I bounced around. So I wanted to make sure like, hey, I might be a good fit for you guys, but you guys may not. Like you gotta, you're being interviewed, but I have to interview you as well. So
Hmm.
the first interview went really well. I want to say 2 weeks later, I sat down with them in person and did the second interview with the same three employees, and it was great. It was great. I got to actually tour the library. I got to see the room, the department I would be in. I got to meet some of the staff members I would potentially be supervising. But yeah, it went by fast. It was super fast. And honestly, if this is not being cocky, guys, viewing this, I was at a point where I thought I was gonna leave libraries when this position popped up. I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm done. This is not for me. I'm ready to go. But when I saw this position pop up, I knew it was mine. I knew I'm like, you're staying and that's where you're going. So again, it worked out in my favor, and I'm still here. I'm still in libraries. But yeah, sometimes you'll see positions and you're like, am I qualified for this? Can I go into a different department than what I'm used to, than when I'm trained in, and when I'm used to? You can. And I think that goes back to just looking at the way the job descriptions are laid out. It's all about the word choice and the jargon that's being used. You got to know, even though you're a youth services librarian or you're an adult services librarian, librarians, we wear different hats. So there were days I'm in the children's department, but there was time I had to troubleshoot in visionware. There were plenty of times I had to go into another department. We were down a library assistant in the technical services department. I knew how to catalog. So guess where I was? I was helping them catalog. So you'll see stuff and you'll be like, I don't know if I can do it. You can. You can't, because you probably already are doing it now. You just don't have the title. So I always tell people, don't be discouraged when they see, especially when you're fresh out of school, don't be discouraged. Just sell yourself, because
Hmm.
you're probably already doing it anyway. So yeah,
Yeah, and I think it goes back to what you said earlier. Like as librarians, we always wear a lot of hats, and we don't
a
always
lot.
use that hat, but we have the hat.
Mhm. That's why I say don't be discouraged by the stuff you're gonna see, especially I think as a fresh graduate of the library programs, you're gonna be like, I touched on this in the program. I have some coursework experience with this, or hell, even if you worked in a library right now, you're just thinking about switching, different positions. You have what it takes to do it. You gotta work the resume a little bit differently, but you've done it. You've definitely done it, or at least you have the capabilities of doing so, because there's nothing a librarian cannot do. I'm sorry.
No, it's very right. I truly believe we could be spies.
honestly. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then going to the follow-up for this question, is there an asset that you possess, which you believe may have helped you land this job?
Oh, this is a good question. An asset. I don't know if this is an asset per se, because like I said, I had no technology experience. Like, yeah, I knew how to do certain things because I've done it like in other positions, other roles. But I want to say, and Alan, if you've seen this, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know this is correct. I want to say it was probably my personality, if we're being honest, and I do think that's an asset. I'm such a people person, and you're probably seeing this now. I'm so bubbly, I'm so animated, but I think it played the part. I think I always tell people this too. You could look amazing on paper, you could look great on paper, but that doesn't mean you'll mesh well with the team, like with the people that are already there, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know, like that's why I always say too, when you're being interviewed, make sure you're interviewing them as well, because yeah, it might look like a good position, it might look like it's a good fit, but you might not like how it feels on you once you get in there. So you got to ask the right stuff. But I want to say my biggest asset, you could put me anywhere, I'm gonna adapt. And again, I just think it's because of how I am. It's a personality thing. And I think that was probably what sealed the deal. Like I said, Alan, you can view this and come and tell me if I'm wrong. But I think honestly that's what it is, because like I said, I didn't have experience. He took a look at that resume, he took a chance on me. They all took a chance on me. So I would like to think it was my enthusiasm, my positive attitude about how to attack the job. But yeah, I didn't come in with technology experience. So yeah, it was, I'm willing to learn. I'm willing, put me in here and I'm gonna show you what I can do type of thing. So
yeah, I think a lot of librarians are like that though. They're like, just tell me what you want to do and I'll figure it out.
And that's honestly, and that's what I did from day one. I'm like, all right, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm gonna figure it out. Like, just give me the space, I'll figure it out. And I've been doing that every day since. So
nice.
Yeah. Clearly I love it. I'm still there a year later. So
on the last note of, like you're saying, like you have a lot to do in your day to day. So what is a typical work day like for you?
I wish I had a typical work day.
I wish I knew what that was like too.
Yeah, like and I don't say that to scare anyone who's watching this. I actually prefer a little chaos, but that's just my personality. A typical day, honestly, I'm coming in, I'm ensuring that all the computers are on and they're operating. I'm making sure software is up and running the way I need it to. I'm looking at schedules just to see like, hey, who's in, who's not in. Do I need to pull, like, because even though I'm in tech services and I'm head of tech, sometimes I will float around any other departments. I will make sure CERC doesn't need anything. If they do, I'll hop on a desk. References the same way. Someone is out, I'll hop on the desk. But yeah, it's the same thing doesn't happen for me every day. Ironically, it's always something, it's something different. Especially since we migrated from TLC to CERC last year. So I really, it's been a lot of hiccups since the migration. So it's always, well, this issue is happening, or I'm earning my title. I will tell you that. I only earned my title with this position with troubleshooting and just educating staff about, how to use the different things in workflows and in CERC, but it's never the same. It's always a different task every day. But like I said, I already threw in, I like chaos, so I don't mind. I like a little, we're busy. I like a little hecticness. I don't mind it at all.
I'm the same way. I like variety. I don't like my day to be the same. I like to go home and feel like I did something.
It's like, oh Lord, I earned my paycheck today.
It's nice. It's nice.
It is nice.
And so then going on to the next question, what skills or qualifications are required for your positions? And do they match the skills and qualifications that you use most on a daily basis?
Hmm. I guess I'll take it back to the beginning then too, because like I said, I've been here for a year now.
Mhm.
I'm not your typical tech librarian. It wasn't something I was a youth services librarian when I came into this position. So a lot of stuff it's crossover. Everything it overlaps. A lot of the stuff that I was doing as head of youth services, I'm still doing as head of tech, but in a different capacity. I want to say the only skill set I have now, or at least the skill set I wish I could still use a little bit more, is working with the public. I'm behind the scenes now, so
Mhm.
I don't get that same interaction day to day with patrons like you would get on the service desk. I'm in the back now. I only come out, Kiana, I need you to do so. Like it's, I think that took a little bit of adjusting, but I wouldn't say I needed any specific
Mhm.
skills for this position, because like I said, a lot of the stuff I was already doing as head of youth services, I'm doing now. So I still supervise a team. It's a smaller team at this library, but it wasn't anything specifically new that I needed to acquire to
Mhm.
do this job. It was just more or less my workload is a little bit different, and my interaction with the public is different. But I honestly, maybe like I said, Alan, you'll probably look at this and be like, yeah, she's right, maybe she's wrong, but I don't think there was anything new that I
Mhm.
had to learn outside of leaving all the TLC stuff behind and migrating everyone to Cersei. But I already had experience with Cersei from a previous library. I already knew TLC. I know
Mhm.
Polaris. So it was just like, again, I knew that stuff from being in different positions. I wasn't in a technology position. I had learned all that just from working in different libraries, but that worked in my benefit because as head of tech, I needed that. I needed
Mhm.
to know how to work those iOS systems. I did. So I guess that's just allowing yourself to bounce around too a
Mhm.
little bit. You don't have to stay in one department. And even if you're in the same library, just go and float in various departments. Like just go a couple of minutes and see how circulation does what they do. Go upstairs to reference or wherever your reference department is and just see how they do what they do, because it's helpful. It's helpful
Mhm.
to have those skills. And you might learn something new along the way, because I always say you're a collection of the people you work with. You're a museum of all the different people you've worked with. So yes, I left Belleville. Yes, I left you. Yes, I left all these libraries. But all those people that I left, they're still with me. All those skills
Mhm.
that they taught me, I brought that right with me to Westfield. So I'm a museum of all of those employees. It's just they're mapped into Kiana now, but it works. It worked in my benefit.
Yeah, I always feel like no matter like where you go, always nice to bring like what came before. Like because you're
Exactly.
like you said, you're always gonna bring what came before, and there's always something new you could learn there. And it's not like it's the learning really never stops.
It never stops.
Yeah, especially when you're at a library. And so then going into like what you love about your job. So our next question is what is the best thing about your job and what is your least favorite?
Oh, this is easy. The best thing about my job, my team. Oh my God. I love I really lucked up in this position. I have such an amazing technical services team at Westfield. Just in case any of you guys are watching this, I love you all. But yeah, that's my favorite part. I'm not just tech services. I love everyone I work with.
Mhm.
But my team, oh yeah, they make it worth coming in every day. And my least favorite thing about my job, again, I'm a people person, so I'm only typically interacting with my team most of the day, unless have to go on the desk because of staff like
Mhm.
issues, or because I have to go out to troubleshoot something. I really don't see the patrons as much. So I don't get to, I don't get to chat with them over books and about what they're watching and just everyday stuff. So I do find myself going out when like we have programs, or just in the morning in general when people are coming in, because I just want to see people. But
Mhm.
I guess that's my least favorite part about it, because like I said, I really do. This year has just been a breeze. This is probably the easiest position I've ever worked. And that says a lot considering I didn't have any experience with this position coming in. So I guess my best piece of advice too, for any new graduates or any new first year, second year, whatever librarian, whatever year you're in your career, please don't be hard on yourself. This line of work that we're in, we are public servants at the end of the day, so we're here to serve the public, but please remember to serve yourself first, because that's the only way we could pour in to the public if we're continuing to pour into ourselves. And just don't be hard on yourself. You're gonna have plenty of days where it's like, oh, I'm amazing. It's gonna be other days where I'm just like, I want to crawl into a book and put me on the shelf and don't touch me, type of days. But yeah, just take it easy. Take it easy.
Yeah, I feel like with librarians, like I feel like everyone takes it so personally what they do, and I'm just like, look, like it's like, yes, we're here to do a good deed, but it is a job like any other, and you just
Exactly.
have to like prioritize certain things.
Yep. And always prioritize yourself. Burnout
First.
is in every single industry that exists, including libraries. So I always tell librarians, please just don't allow this job to suck the life out of you. Like, have some fun with it and be done with it is my piece of advice.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the best advice you could give because I've been there with a lot of librarians.
Mhm.
And so yeah, then going on to the next question. So what are your salary expectations and does your current job meet them? Are there opportunities for growth in your current position?
How long have I been doing this? I got
I
in
ask
library.
myself that every day.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, because it hasn't really been that long for me.
Yeah.
I joined library in 2017. I officially became a librarian 20 2019. So I haven't been doing
Okay.
this that long. Um, but I want to say, as far as salary expectations go, my job exceeds my expectations. And yeah, so 2019, 20, I've been doing this professionally 5 years. I see a nice little salary. Shout out to Westfield, but yeah, it exceeded what I thought I was gonna get. And I
Mhm.
honestly just got a raise last month too. So there's that. But
Nice.
yeah, I didn't walk into it with any expectations because, like I said, it
Mhm.
was more or less a learning experience. I didn't really care about the salary. I just wanted to get into the position. It was certain things I'm like, all right, I need to learn how to fulfill this, this new role of mine. So yeah, I was looking at the salary, but I really, really didn't care, if that makes sense. I know people are gonna be like, Kiana, in this economy, you're not looking, but it's just like it didn't matter to
Mhm.
me. When I saw it, I'm like, this is you. It didn't matter what they were paying me. This was the way I was staying in libraries in general. So yeah, it exceeded my expectations, especially that
Mhm.
nice little piece I got. But yeah, what was the second question you asked me?
Yeah. And are there any opportunities for growth in your position?
I would like to think it is. I don't think I'm stifled in my position, but I don't know. I've worked in places where I'm like, oh yeah, this is you don't hit your plateau.
Mhm.
Like, this is it. I don't feel like that at Westfield at all. I know if, time permitted, if things moved around the way, how it's a lot of movement in libraries now too. I do think I could grow at my library, but I'm so comfortable and cozy where I am. I'm okay in the
Mhm.
position I'm in now because I love what I do. But if push come to shove and something did shake and move up in my library, I know I could go for it. I know
Mhm.
I know any of us on my team could go for it. But yeah.
Yeah. And it's
I
always
think
nice to
that's
know that you're just
important.
not restricted. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's important. You don't like having to work somewhere you're just like, well, this is it. This is all we have. There's no options here. No, we've seen quite a bit of movement internally at Westfield. So yeah.
That's good to hear. It sounds like honestly a great library. I kind of want to visit next time I'm in Westfield.
You should. You should
And then this next question is one of my favorites. So what advice do you have for new librarians or graduate students about to enter the field?
go for it. Go for it. It doesn't matter what that job listing might say. You don't walk yourself out of an opportunity just because you're scared. There were plenty of jobs I went for and I'm like, well, they asked for this amount of years and experience, so they wanted you to have this. I still went for it. And like I said, I've been doing this since 2017. I've been a supervisor in 3 different libraries within this time frame. So like I said, I didn't have the experience. They took a chance on me. So my best advice, go for it. Please don't walk yourself back from an opportunity because you don't think you are qualified. There's always someone out there that knows you're workable. We are moldable people. There are things you are just going to have to learn on the job anyway, because I always say library school prepped you for certain things, but you got to actually be thrown to the wolves to actually figure out how this library thing goes. Go for it. Do not be scared. Don't you need 2 to 5 years for this? Go for it. Go for it. The worst they can say is no, but I've been in positions where it was just like, we wanted you, but you needed a little bit more experience. Don't take that as rejection. It's just keep going. Somebody's going to take a chance on you. So
yeah, and yes, while experience may matter, it also just might be that they thought you were the best fit. So yes, it could be that's a possibility.
That goes back and forth with the whole interview process as well, because yeah, you are being interviewed, but if you ask the right questions to library staff, you're interviewing them too. Please make sure it may look good, it may feel good at the time. You might not be a good fit there. You might not be a good fit. So make sure you ask the right questions when you're being interviewed too, because I always think that's crucial. Don't have them ask you everything. Ask them important questions too, because like I said, I'll be working for you, but I'll be working with you, if that makes sense. It might not mesh well.
Yeah. No, exactly. And you don't know until you try.
Exactly. And what did I say in the beginning? Try it on. It might look cute. It's like trying on shoes. Like, oh, yeah, this shoe was nice. After a while, you're like, this shoe doesn't fit me anymore. I need to get me a new pair of shoes. Shop around.
What has been your biggest challenge in this profession?
Overall, as a librarian, or is it just a technology librarian?
You could do overall.
I think overall, just being a librarian in general is just remembering to turn it off when I leave the building. You have some people who make being a librarian their whole lives. I was one of those people. I had to learn as time went on, you will burn yourself out like that if you continue to move through life with that mentality. Know when to clock in and when to clock out. That's another piece of good advice. I'm leaving my work here. I'm a librarian. I am a superwoman when I am here. When I leave this building, I am just Kiana. I don't have to be this super librarian when I'm not here. And as far as being a tech librarian, again, this migration was a lot on me. I think the biggest challenge I have had so far in this position was just making staff feel comfortable with the new ILS system. We had TLC for like the past 11, 12 years. So then ripping that from staff all of a sudden and training people who have been using the same system for so long, that was a lot. It didn't matter how many cheat sheets, how many videos I made. It was scary for some staff because it was like, I don't know this. We don't like new stuff. Sometimes we like to keep it the way it is. So I think the biggest challenge just was making sure I was teaching people at their level, because again, like this was probably the teacher mind in me. You have different learning styles, and that goes for your team as well. That goes for staff. So some people may learn at different levels than others. So it was just remembering like, okay, even though we're adults, I still have to make sure I'm training them at their style, at their level. So that was the biggest challenge for me. It was just making sure like, oh, I have to treat you guys like I would treat a classroom, just so you guys can retain the new skills from the new software. But
next question is definitely my favorite one. Are there any accomplishments during your library career that you feel particularly proud of? I broke Kiana.
She did. You're seeing this. It's her fault that I chuckled like that. Honestly, any like accomplishments? No. And you know what? I am not ashamed of that at all. Like I said, I just think being able to go into different roles, especially leadership roles, because like I said, professionally, I've been a librarian for 5 years. I've been in different roles and I was a supervisor in each of those roles. So someone decided to roll the dice and took a chance with me. I want to say it was my biggest accomplishment was always getting the job I set myself out to get. Like I rejection comes with it. It comes with any industry you're in. But most of the time when I set my heights on getting said job, I got it. I don't want to say that's manifestation. Maybe it is. But when I said I was getting something, I got it. I got in the role. I learned what I had to learn from the role. I collected some really amazing people along the way. But as far as a big accomplishment goes, no. My career in itself, I would say, is my biggest accomplishment. Being able to keep moving up is a big accomplishment for me. But I don't think I've experienced something super major. My resume in itself, to me, is my biggest accomplishment. So, yeah, I've always been in a leadership role since I've got my library degree. So, yeah, that's people taking a chance on me every single time is my biggest accomplishment. So, shout out to all those library directors, all those people on the personnel teams that decided, you know what, we're going to give Kiana a chance. You guys are my biggest accomplishment. So, thank you.